Kai had always loved machines. Even as a child, he would take apart old gadgets and try to put them back together. Now, as an engineer on the starship Aurora, his skills were tested on a scale far beyond anything he had imagined. The Aurora was one of the fastest ships in the fleet, designed to travel between distant star systems. Its warp drive was the heart of the ship, a delicate and powerful engine that could bend space and time. Kai had spent months studying it, learning every wire, every circuit, every tiny component. He knew the importance of following the manuals exactly, yet curiosity sometimes got the better of him. Today, he wanted to try a small modification, a tiny adjustment that might improve efficiency. He thought it was harmless, but the warp drive was unlike anything else he had worked on. Captain Mara, the commander of the Aurora, was a tall woman with sharp eyes and a voice that demanded attention. She had seen many engineers over the years, but few dared to question the limits of her ship. She trusted Kai because he had shown promise, but she also knew the danger of overconfidence. Kai crouched beside the warp drive core in the engineering bay. Lights flickered along the metallic walls, casting long shadows. The hum of the engines filled the room, a constant reminder that the ship was alive and powerful. He adjusted a small control module, believing he was making a harmless improvement. At first, nothing happened. He smiled to himself, proud of his cleverness. Then suddenly a loud shudder ran through the ship. Kai froze as alarms blared around him. Red lights flashed across the control panels. Sparks flew from the warp drive core and smoke began to fill the room. The hum of the engine turned into a harsh grinding sound. The ship shook violently, throwing Kai off balance. He scrambled to regain his footing and saw the full extent of his mistake. Captain Mara appeared at the entrance of the engineering bay, her eyes wide but controlled. She moved quickly, scanning the control panels, her fingers dancing across the buttons. She shouted instructions and the crew scrambled to respond. Kai felt a cold wave of fear. He had broken the warp drive, and now the ship was stranded in a dangerous star system far from help. Kai, Mara said, her voice calm but sharp. Explain what happened. Kai swallowed hard. I tried to adjust a control module to improve efficiency. I didn't think it would cause a problem. Mara stared at him for a long moment. Her expression was unreadable. Then she shook her head. The warp drive is not a toy. You put everyone on this ship at risk. We are now in a system where hostile patrols operate. If we do not fix the drive, we cannot escape. Kai felt his stomach twist. He had never felt fear like this before. He had always believed he was smart, careful, capable. Now he realized that one small mistake could cost lives. I can help fix it, he said, trying to sound confident. Mara studied him. Then she walked over and placed a hand on the warp drive core. It will not be easy. The repair requires precision and knowledge you may not have. If you make another mistake, the consequences could be fatal. Kai nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had always wanted to prove himself, but this was more than proving himself. This was survival. The crew moved quickly to stabilize the ship. Shields were raised, emergency power rerouted, and the navigation systems attempted to calculate a safe orbit around the nearest star. Mara gave orders with calm authority, her mind focused on keeping everyone alive. Kai watched her and realized why she was respected. She did not panic. She did not blame. She acted. The engineering bay was tense. Sparks still flew from the warp drive, and the heat made the air heavy. Kai approached the core carefully, remembering everything he had learned. He checked every wire, every circuit, every small component he had touched. He realized the mistake was small but critical. A tiny connector had been misaligned, causing the core to destabilize. Kai worked quickly but carefully. He adjusted the connector, recalibrated the module, and rerouted a few circuits. The hum of the warp drive began to return to normal. The red alarms faded, replaced by a low, steady light. The smoke cleared. Mara approached him again. It is stabilizing, but it is not fully functional. We are still stranded. Someone will need to perform a full manual repair to restore the warp drive completely. Kai felt a knot in his chest. He knew she meant him. He had caused this, and now he had to face the consequences. I will do it, he said. Even though fear tightened his throat, Mara nodded. You will need to stay near the core for hours. You must follow every instruction precisely. If you fail, the ship and everyone on it will be in danger. Kai took a deep breath and entered the inner chamber of the warp drive. It was a tight space, filled with glowing panels, wires, and machinery. He could feel the energy of the core vibrating around him. It was beautiful, powerful, and terrifying. He knew that one wrong move could be catastrophic. As he began the repair, Mara monitored him from the control panel. She gave clear, precise instructions, guiding him through each step. Kai followed every command, his hands steady despite the fear. He tightened connections, replaced circuits, and adjusted the energy flow. Slowly, the warp drive began to hum with stability once more. Outside the engineering bay, the stars stretched endlessly. The ship floated in a system filled with unknown planets, asteroids, and dangers. Kai could not see the threats, but he could feel them. Every movement he made mattered. Every adjustment he performed could mean the difference between survival and disaster. Hours passed. Kai worked tirelessly, his body aching but his mind focused. He learned to trust his instincts, to listen to the core, to follow Mara's guidance without hesitation. The ship felt alive, and he felt connected to it in a way he had never imagined. Finally, the last adjustment was made. The warp drive stabilized fully. Kai stepped back, sweat dripping from his forehead. The hum of the engine was steady, powerful, and ready. He had done it. He had repaired the damage he caused. Mara approached him, her eyes softening slightly. "You have done well, Kai. This ship and everyone on it owe you their lives." Kai shook his head. "I was the one who caused this." "I just fixed it," Mara smiled faintly. "And in doing so, you showed courage and skill." "That is what matters." Kai felt a surge of pride mixed with relief. He had made a mistake, faced the consequences, and survived. He had learned something about himself and about humans in general. Even in the face of danger, humans had the ability to think, to create, and to survive. As the ship settled into orbit, Kai looked out at the stars. He knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers, and he was now part of it. He had made a mistake, but he had also proven that humans, with their curiosity, determination, and courage, could overcome even the greatest challenges. Mara's voice came through the intercom. "Kai, rest for now. Tomorrow we face the next challenge." Kai nodded, exhausted but ready. He knew that the journey ahead would test him further, but he also knew that he was capable of more than he had ever imagined. And for the first time, he understood that being human meant more than making mistakes. It meant learning, adapting, and fighting to survive. As he lay down to rest, Kai felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. He had broken the warp drive, but he had also learned something far more important. Humans were strong, clever, and unstoppable when they refused to give up, and no matter what the galaxy threw at him, he would face it head-on. Kai closed his eyes and drifted into a restless sleep, knowing that the stars outside were waiting, filled with mysteries, dangers, and opportunities, and he was ready to face them all. The Aurora floated quietly in orbit around a gray, rocky planet. Outside, the stars shone like tiny diamonds in the darkness of space. Inside, the hum of the ship was steady now that the warp drive was partially repaired. Kai sat in the engineering bay, exhausted but alert. He had fixed the immediate danger, but he knew this was only the beginning. The full repair of the warp drive would take hours, and the ship could not move until it was completely operational. Captain Mara entered the engineering bay, her boots clicking against the metal floor. She looked at Kai with a mixture of respect and determination. "Kai, the temporary repair will hold for a while, but the warp drive still needs a full manual repair. It is risky, and someone must stay near the core until it is completed." Kai looked at her, his heart tightening. He knew she meant him. He had caused this problem, and now he would have to face the consequences. "I understand," he said, his voice steady despite the fear inside him. Mara nodded. "You will not be alone. I will guide you from the control panel. You must follow every instruction exactly. The ship cannot afford another mistake." Kai swallowed hard and moved toward the inner chamber of the warp drive. The metal walls glowed with the power of the engine, and the heat made the air heavy. He could feel the energy of the core vibrating around him, like the heartbeat of the ship itself. This was no ordinary machine. It was alive in a way, and it demanded respect and careful attention. As he entered the chamber, Mara spoke through the intercom. "Kai, begin by checking the secondary stabilizers. They must be aligned precisely. Any misalignment could cause a chain reaction." Kai nodded and began his work. He checked every wire, every circuit, and every connector. His hands moved carefully but quickly. He was focused on the task, knowing that any mistake could endanger the entire ship. Hours passed as Kai worked. Mara guided him through each step, her voice calm and precise. She explained the reasons behind every adjustment, the way the warp drive drew energy from the ship, and how it could be pushed to its limits safely. Kai listened and learned. He realized that the warp drive was not just a machine. It was a reflection of human ingenuity, creativity, and persistence. Only humans could design something so complex and yet so delicate. During the repair, the ship encountered its first real test. Sensors detected a patrol of alien ships approaching the system. They were sleek and fast, their designs unlike anything Kai had ever seen. Mara adjusted the Aurora's shields and began evasive maneuvers, weaving through asteroid fields and debris. Kai felt the vibrations of the ship as it twisted and turned to avoid detection. "Stay focused on the repair," Mara said calmly. "We cannot afford distractions, but you must also be aware of the ship's condition." Kai nodded. He could feel the tension in the air. The aliens were close, but Mara's skill kept them hidden for now. He returned to the repair, tightening circuits, aligning stabilizers, and rerouting energy. His hands were steady, his mind sharp. He realized that humans had a unique strength. Even under pressure, they could remain calm, think clearly, and act with purpose. Time passed slowly. The stars outside moved as the ship orbited the planet. But inside the engineering bay, Kai felt as if he were in a different world. The warp drive core glowed with energy, and the heat pressed against him. Sweat ran down his face, but he did not stop. He knew that failure was not an option. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the secondary stabilizers were aligned. Kai stepped back, wiping his forehead. The warp drive hummed steadily, more powerful now than it had before the accident. He had repaired the core to the best of his ability. Mara's voice came through the intercom. "Good work, Kai. You have completed the first stage of the repair. Now we must test the energy flow and recalibrate the main circuits. This will be more difficult. The slightest miscalculation could cause an overload." Kai nodded. He felt a surge of determination. He had faced danger before, but this was different. The warp drive was the heart of the ship, and he was responsible for keeping it alive. He moved carefully, following Mara's instructions step by step. As he worked, Mara kept the ship steady. She navigated through asteroid belts, dodged debris, and monitored the alien patrols. Kai could hear the occasional hum of the engines as they adjusted to her commands. He realized that human skill was not limited to one area. Mara's piloting and his engineering combined to make the Aurora stronger than any single individual could have made it. Suddenly, the alarms blared again. The sensors detected movement near the planet's surface. A group of hostile creatures was approaching, attracted by the energy of the ship. Mara adjusted the shields and prepared defensive systems. Kai felt a pang of fear, but he pushed it aside. He had to finish the repair before the ship could engage fully in combat. The creatures moved closer, strange and powerful, with glowing eyes and sharp limbs. They were unlike any animal on Earth, and their intelligence seemed higher than expected. Mara's voice cut through the tension. "Focus on the warp drive. We can handle them once the system is stable." Kai nodded. He checked the main circuits, adjusting the energy flow carefully. Sparks flew and the core glowed brighter, but he remained calm. He had learned to trust his instincts, to follow Mara's guidance, and to believe in his own skill. Hours passed. The tension was relentless, but Kai did not falter. He recalibrated the circuits, aligned the energy nodes, and monitored the stabilizers. The warp drive hummed with power, ready to unleash its energy when needed. Finally, the repair was complete. Kai stepped back, exhausted but triumphant. The warp drive glowed steadily, and the alarms had ceased. Mara's voice came through the intercom, filled with respect. "Kai, you have done it. The warp drive is fully operational. You have proven yourself today." Kai felt a wave of relief and pride. He had made a mistake, faced the consequences, and succeeded. He realized something important. Humans were remarkable not because they avoided mistakes, but because they learned from them, adapted, and overcame challenges. Mara entered the engineering bay. She looked at Kai, her eyes softening slightly. "You have earned the trust of this ship and its crew. Today you were the difference between survival and disaster." Kai shook his head. "I was just doing what I had to do. I made the mistake and I fixed it. That is all." Mara smiled faintly. "No, you showed courage, skill, and determination. Those qualities are what make humans special. You faced fear and pressure and did not give up. That is why you succeeded." Kai felt a strange sense of satisfaction. He had feared being a burden, but now he understood that humans could rise above their mistakes. They could face danger, learn, and survive. He had proven that in a system full of threats, even a single human could make a difference. Outside, the hostile creatures moved away, sensing the Aurora's strength. The alien patrols retreated, unable to penetrate the ship's defenses. The galaxy remained dangerous, but for the moment the Aurora was safe. Kai sat down exhausted but reflective. He had learned more than just engineering today. He had learned about courage, responsibility, and the power of human ingenuity. He had learned that mistakes could be corrected with effort and determination, and that humans had a unique ability to overcome challenges that no other species could match. Mara's voice came again. Rest for now, Kai. Tomorrow we face the next challenge. But know this, today you showed what humans can do. Never forget it. Kai nodded, closing his eyes briefly. He knew the journey ahead would be difficult. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers. But he also knew that he was not helpless. Humans were strong, clever, and determined, and he was ready to face whatever came next as he rested. He thought about the warp drive, the ship, and the stars outside. Everything was connected and every action mattered. He had been tested and he had passed. And he knew that the next stage of his journey would be even more challenging, but also full of opportunity to prove himself and show the true power of humanity. Kai drifted into a light sleep, ready for the next day. The Aurora floated in the darkness, its engines humming steadily, a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. And for the first time, Kai felt that he was part of something greater, a human capable of overcoming anything the universe could throw at him. The Aurora drifted through the quiet darkness above the rocky planet, but the calm was deceptive. Kai sat in the engineering bay, his hands hovering over the panels of the warp drive, knowing that one small error could send the ship into chaos again. The partial repair had stabilized the core, but the system was still vulnerable. Captain Mara's voice came through the intercom, steady and calm as always. Kai, we are not out of danger yet. Sensors show multiple unidentified ships entering the system. They are fast and aggressive. Focus on the warp drive and trust my commands. Kai nodded, swallowing the fear in his throat. He had repaired the warp drive once, but now he needed to ensure it could function fully under pressure. The energy of the core hummed around him like a living being, a constant reminder that the ship was a powerful, delicate machine. Every wire, every circuit, every adjustment mattered. Outside the viewing windows, streaks of light appeared as the alien patrols approached. Their ships were sleek and dark, moving with precision and speed. Mara's hands moved over the control panel, adjusting shields and calculating trajectories. Kai could feel the ship twisting and turning as she guided it through the asteroid field surrounding the planet. The rocks were massive, jagged, and dangerous, but Mara navigated with skill that made the impossible seem effortless. Kai. Mara's voice came firmly. The warp drive must be fully operational before they reach our orbit. Any delay could be fatal. Keep your focus, Kai nodded again. His hands moved quickly, checking circuits and rerouting energy. The hum of the warp drive grew stronger, but he knew it was not yet ready for full activation. Every second counted. He had to balance speed with precision, knowing that even a small mistake could trigger an overload. As he worked, the ship shuddered violently. Mara had maneuvered close to an asteroid cluster to avoid detection, but one of the rocks grazed the hull, sending vibrations through the Aurora. Sparks flew from a damaged sensor array, and alarms blared briefly before Mara stabilized the ship. Adjust the auxiliary conduits, Mara instructed. Divert power from non-essential systems to stabilize the core. Kai moved quickly, following her commands. He rerouted the conduits and monitored the energy flow. The warp drive responded, humming with renewed strength. He could feel the core stabilizing, but the danger was far from over. The alien ships were closing in, and they were fast learners. They adapted to the Aurora's maneuvers. Anticipating her next move, Kai realized that humans were not just strong in intellect, but also in adaptability. Mara adjusted the ship constantly, and he adjusted the warp drive to match. They were working as one, combining skill and intuition to survive. It was exhausting, but Kai felt a strange sense of pride. He was part of something bigger than himself, and his actions mattered. Suddenly, the sensors picked up a new threat. A massive creature had emerged from the shadow of a nearby moon. It was unlike anything Kai had ever seen, with glowing eyes and limbs that seemed to stretch endlessly. Its presence caused the ship's sensors to go haywire, and Mara had to recalibrate the shields immediately. Kai, hold the stabilizers steady. We cannot risk an overload now. Mara's voice was calm but urgent. Kai's hands moved over the panels, adjusting the stabilizers. The hum of the warp drive grew louder as he balanced the energy flow. He could feel the tension in the air, the weight of the unknown pressing down on him. The creature approached slowly, but its size and power were terrifying. The alien patrol stayed back, wary of the enormous being, giving the Aurora a narrow window to escape. Mara plotted a course around the planet, weaving through asteroid belts and debris fields. The Aurora twisted and turned, its hull scraping against smaller rocks but avoiding major damage. Kai's focus never wavered. He checked each circuit, tightened each connection, and monitored the energy nodes. The warp drive was alive, responsive, and ready, but it still required full calibration before it could engage. Hours passed, and the tension never lifted. The creature stayed nearby, watching, sensing the energy of the ship. The alien patrols circled at a distance, testing the Aurora's defenses. Kai felt exhaustion creeping in, but he pushed it aside. He had come this far, and he could not stop now. Finally, Mara gave a brief instruction. Kai, prepare to synchronize the main circuits. This is the last step. Once completed, the warp drive will be fully operational. Kai took a deep breath. He had learned to trust his instincts, to follow Mara's guidance, and to rely on his knowledge. His hands moved with precision, connecting the main circuits and adjusting the energy flow. The core glowed brighter, pulsing steadily. Sparks danced briefly along the surface but quickly stabilized. The hum of the warp drive became a smooth, powerful resonance, like a heartbeat synchronized with the ship. Mara's voice came through, filled with respect and relief. Kai, the warp drive is fully operational.
You have done it.
Now we can escape this system safely. Kai leaned back, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. He had faced danger, pressure, and fear, and he had prevailed. He realized that humans had a special strength. Even when everything seemed against them, they could adapt, think, and act with purpose. They could survive where others might fail. Mara engaged the warp drive slowly, testing its response. The Aurora vibrated with power, energy flowing through every circuit. Kai watched as the stars outside stretched and blurred, the ship preparing for hyperspace. The creature near the moon retreated, sensing the energy of the warp drive and the determination of the humans on board. The alien patrols pulled back, unwilling to challenge a ship with such power and skill. Kai felt a surge of pride. He had been the one to repair the warp drive, to stabilize the core, to ensure the ship could escape. He had been tested and he had succeeded. And he understood something important. Humans were not just clever or strong. They were resilient, adaptable, and unstoppable when they refused to give up. Mara looked at him as she adjusted the controls. You have proven yourself today, Kai, not just as an engineer, but as a human capable of extraordinary courage and skill. Kai shook his head, feeling humility mixed with pride. I was just doing my job. I did what I had to do to keep the ship and everyone on it safe. Mara smiled faintly. That is exactly why humans are remarkable. You do what is necessary, even when it is difficult or dangerous. You learn, adapt, and survive. That is why we endure. The Aurora prepared to jump to hyperspace. The stars outside stretched into lines of light, the ship vibrating with energy and power. Kai felt a rush of exhilaration and relief. He had faced the threat, repaired the warp drive, and helped the ship survive. He had proven that humans, with their ingenuity and determination, could overcome even the greatest challenges. As the ship moved into hyperspace, Kai looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of connection and purpose. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and opportunities, but he was ready. He had faced fear, pressure, and uncertainty, and he had emerged stronger. He understood the true value of human courage and resilience. Mara's voice came over the intercom one last time. Kai, rest now. You have earned it. The galaxy is still full of challenges, but you have shown that humans can meet them and prevail. Kai nodded, his body tired but his spirit renewed. He had learned that humans were more than capable of facing the unknown. They could survive, adapt, and thrive where others might fail. And he knew that the journey ahead would be even more difficult, but he was ready to face it. He settled into a small resting area in the engineering bay, still connected to the warp drive through monitoring systems. He felt the hum of the core beneath his fingers, a constant reminder of the power of human skill and ingenuity. He had made mistakes, faced threats, and overcome challenges. And he had proven that even a single human could make a difference in a dangerous universe. As Kai closed his eyes, he felt a sense of pride and anticipation. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, filled with mysteries, dangers, and opportunities. and he was ready to face them all. Humans were strong, clever, and determined, and he knew that together with Captain Mara, he could survive anything the universe could throw at them. The Aurora moved through hyperspace, stars stretching into long lines as the ship glided at impossible speeds. Inside, the ship hummed steadily, its systems functioning smoothly thanks to Kai's repair work. But the warp drive, while stable, was not yet operating at full capacity. Captain Mara and Kai both knew that a final inspection was necessary to ensure the ship could travel safely across the galaxy. Kai sat in the engineering bay, his hands hovering over the panels of the warp drive. Every circuit, every energy node, every connection demanded his attention. The warp drive was a delicate balance of power and precision, and even a small flaw could create catastrophic consequences. He had repaired what he could, but now he had to find the hidden problem that had caused the instability in the first place. Mara stood nearby, her eyes scanning the navigation systems and sensors. Her presence was steady and reassuring, a reminder to Kai that he was not alone. "Kai, we need to locate the hidden flaw. The temporary repair has held, but I need the warp drive to operate at full strength. Do not rush. Take the time to observe and analyze every component." Kai nodded. He had learned to trust Mara's judgment and to work calmly under pressure. He began a systematic inspection of the warp drive, starting from the primary energy conduits and moving to the secondary stabilizers. Every wire, every connector, every microcircuit was examined carefully. The hum of the core was steady, but he sensed that the flaw was subtle, something that could be easily overlooked by an inexperienced eye. Hours passed as Kai meticulously examined the warp drive. His fingers moved with precision, adjusting circuits and testing energy flow. He felt fatigue creeping in, but he pushed it aside. His determination grew stronger with every discovery, every clue that led him closer to the hidden problem. He realized that human ingenuity was not just about speed or strength, but about observation, analysis, and persistence. Finally, Kai noticed something unusual. A tiny component deep within the core seemed misaligned. It was almost invisible, easily mistaken for a normal part of the system. But his instincts told him that this small component was the key to the instability. He studied it carefully, tracing the energy flow and analyzing the connections. It was delicate work requiring both skill and patience. "Kai, what have you found?" Mara's voice came through the intercom. "I think I found the flaw," Kai replied, his voice steady despite excitement. "It is a small component in the core. If it is adjusted correctly, the warp drive should operate at full capacity." Mara's eyes narrowed as she examined the data. "Good observation. That component has been overlooked for decades. Many engineers would not have noticed it. Your attention to detail is remarkable. Proceed carefully." Kai nodded and began the delicate adjustment. His hands moved slowly, aligning the component with precision. The energy flow through the warp drive responded immediately, pulsing steadily and evenly. He recalibrated the surrounding circuits to support the change, monitoring the core for any signs of instability. The hum of the warp drive grew stronger, more consistent and more powerful. As Kai worked, the Aurora continued to glide through hyperspace. Outside, the stars shimmered like scattered diamonds and the ship felt alive with energy. Kai realized that the warp drive was not just a machine. It was a reflection of human ingenuity and determination, a testament to the ability of humans to create, adapt, and overcome challenges. He felt a deep sense of connection to the ship. As if he were part of its power and rhythm, suddenly an alert flashed on the console. Mara's voice came calmly but urgently. "Kai, sensors detect a gravitational anomaly ahead. It could interfere with the warp drive's operation. Prepare to adjust the energy flow dynamically." Kai's hands moved quickly but carefully. He recalibrated the circuits, rerouted power to the auxiliary stabilizers, and adjusted the energy nodes to compensate for the anomaly. The warp drive responded beautifully, the core glowing steadily as it adapted to the new conditions. He realized that humans had a unique strength, the ability to think creatively and act decisively in the face of unexpected challenges. Hours passed, but Kai remained focused. He tested the warp drive under different energy loads, monitoring the stability of every system. Each test brought new insights, and he adjusted the circuits to optimize performance. The warp drive responded with precision and power, its hum steady and confident. He could feel the energy flowing through the ship, connecting every system in perfect harmony. Finally, Kai completed the final calibration. The warp drive was fully operational, more efficient and powerful than ever before. He stepped back, wiping sweat from his forehead, and felt a surge of pride and relief. He had discovered the hidden flaw, made the critical adjustment, and restored the warp drive to its full potential. Mara approached him, her expression one of respect and admiration. "Kai, you have done it. The warp drive is now operating at maximum capacity. Your skill, focus, and determination have saved this ship and everyone on it. You have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary achievements." Kai shook his head, feeling humility mixed with pride. "I just followed the instructions and observed carefully." "I did what I could," Mara smiled. "What you did was more than following instructions. You discovered a flaw that has been hidden for decades, something that many would have missed. That is the difference between an ordinary engineer and a human capable of greatness. Humans think, adapt, and overcome. That is what makes us remarkable." Kai felt a sense of awe. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and he had emerged stronger. He realized that humans were not limited by their size or strength, but by their creativity, resilience, and willingness to act under pressure. The warp drive was now more than a machine. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. Outside the aurora, the galaxy stretched endlessly, filled with stars, planets, and possibilities. Kai looked out at the vast expanse of space, feeling both small and powerful. Small because of the enormity of the universe, but powerful because he had made a difference. He had faced challenges that could have destroyed the ship, and he had overcome them through skill, focus, and determination. Mara engaged the warp drive fully, testing its response under maximum load. The aurora surged forward, moving faster than ever, gliding through hyperspace with ease and precision. Kai felt the energy of the ship vibrating around him, a constant reminder of the power of human skill and ingenuity. The warp drive responded beautifully, every system functioning in perfect harmony. Kai realized that this was more than a repair. It was a breakthrough, a demonstration of what humans could achieve when they applied their intelligence, creativity, and courage. He had faced danger, pressure, and fear, and he had emerged victorious. The warp drive was a testament to the human spirit, a reflection of the ability to overcome challenges and achieve greatness. Mara looked at him, her eyes filled with pride. "Kai, today you have done something extraordinary. You have proven that humans are capable of facing any challenge and succeeding. Remember this moment. Remember that human ingenuity, courage, and determination can overcome even the greatest obstacles." Kai nodded, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. He had made mistakes, faced threats, and overcome challenges. He had learned that humans were not just capable of surviving, but of thriving, even in the most dangerous and uncertain conditions. He felt a connection to the ship, to Mara, and to the universe itself. Humans had the power to adapt, to think, and to act with purpose. As the aurora continued through hyperspace, Kai reflected on the journey so far. He had made a mistake, faced its consequences, and discovered the hidden flaw that threatened the ship. He had learned the value of observation, patience, and determination. He had seen the strength of human ingenuity and the power of teamwork. And he knew that this was only the beginning of their journey through the galaxy. Kai took a moment to rest, letting his mind absorb the lessons of the day. He felt a sense of pride, relief, and anticipation. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, but he was ready. Humans were clever, resilient, and capable of extraordinary achievements. And with Captain Mara guiding the aurora, he knew they could face anything the universe had to offer. The stars stretched endlessly outside the windows, a reminder of the infinite possibilities ahead. Kai felt a sense of wonder and determination. He had repaired the warp drive, discovered the hidden flaw, and ensured the ship's survival. He had proven that humans, with their courage, skill, and ingenuity, could overcome any obstacle, and he was ready to continue the journey. Knowing that the greatest challenges still lay ahead, Mara's voice came through the intercom, calm and reassuring. "Kai, you have earned this moment of rest. But remember, the galaxy is full of unknown challenges. We have proven today that humans can face danger, adapt, and succeed. Never forget it." Kai nodded, closing his eyes briefly, feeling a deep sense of pride and connection. The aurora moved smoothly through hyperspace, its warp drive humming steadily, a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. Kai had made mistakes, faced danger, and succeeded. And he knew that the journey ahead would test them even further, but he was ready. Humans could face anything and survive. The aurora floated smoothly through open space, the hum of the warp drive steady and powerful. The ship had passed through dangerous systems, avoided hostile patrols, and survived encounters with unknown creatures. Kai sat in the engineering bay, exhausted but alert. His hands rested on the panels of the warp drive, feeling its energy pulse like a heartbeat. After days of repair, observation, and testing, the ship was finally fully operational. Captain Mara entered the engineering bay. Her boots clicked softly against the floor. She looked at Kai with a mixture of pride and seriousness. Kai, you have done more than repair a machine. You have proven that humans can overcome any challenge with skill, courage, and determination. Kai looked at her, surprised by her words. I only did what I had to do. I repaired the warp drive. That is all? Mara shook her head, her eyes sharp and thoughtful. It is never just about repairing a machine. It is about understanding it, observing it, and solving problems that no one else could solve. That is what humans do. You faced pressure, fear, and danger, and you succeeded. That is why humans are remarkable. Kai felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had feared that his mistakes would define him, that he would be remembered as the one who broke the warp drive. Instead, he was being recognized for his courage, his focus, and his ability to overcome challenges. He realized that mistakes were not the end. They were opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow. Mara continued, her tone softer now. Kai, today you have earned respect not just from me but from this entire ship. Your skill, determination, and courage have saved lives. You are now a vital part of this crew. Kai felt a surge of pride and relief. He had feared failure, but he had also proven his worth. He had learned that humans were capable of extraordinary achievements when they refused to give up, even in the face of danger and uncertainty. He understood that courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Outside the ship, stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vast universe waiting to be explored. Kai looked out at the glittering expanse, feeling both small and powerful. He had faced challenges that could have destroyed the ship, and he had overcome them. He felt a sense of connection to the Aurora, to Captain Mara, and to the universe itself. Humans were capable of adapting, learning, and thriving where others might fail. Mara watched Kai for a moment, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. We still have a long journey ahead, she said. The galaxy is full of dangers and unknowns, but I am confident that humans can face any challenge and succeed. Today you have proven that. Kai nodded, feeling determination grow inside him. He had faced fear, pressure, and uncertainty, and he had survived. He had learned that humans were not limited by size, strength, or experience. They were limited only by their willingness to think, adapt, and act with courage. He felt ready for whatever lay ahead. The Aurora glided smoothly through space, the warp drive humming steadily. Kai monitored the systems, making small adjustments to ensure everything remained balanced. He felt a sense of pride and responsibility. This ship, this crew, and this mission depended on his skill and focus. He understood that humans had the ability to rise to any challenge when they refused to give up. As the ship traveled, Mara walked through the engineering bay, checking systems and observing Kai at work. She was silent for a moment, then spoke. Kai, you have shown more than skill. You have shown respect for the ship, for the crew, and for the challenges we face. That is what makes a human great. Courage is important, but respect and responsibility are what truly define us. Kai looked at her, understanding her words. He had learned that being human was more than just solving problems. It was about understanding the consequences of actions, taking responsibility, and using skill and courage to protect others. He had made a mistake, faced the consequences, and emerged stronger because of it. That was the true measure of human strength. Hours passed as the Aurora moved through uncharted space. Kai and Mara continued to monitor the ship, adjusting systems and testing the warp drive. The galaxy outside was vast, filled with stars, planets, and possibilities. Kai felt a sense of wonder and anticipation. He knew that challenges would come, but he also knew that humans could overcome them. The mistakes of the past were lessons, and the successes of the present were proof of human potential. Mara spoke again, her voice calm and thoughtful. Kai, remember this moment. Remember what you have accomplished and what humans are capable of. We will face dangers, we will face uncertainty, but we will survive because we are clever, determined, and courageous. Kai nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He understood that human strength was not just in technology or skill, but in the ability to think, learn, and act under pressure. He had repaired the warp drive, stabilized the ship, and ensured the safety of the crew. He had proven that humans could rise to any challenge and succeed where others might fail. The Aurora continued to glide through the stars. Kai felt a sense of peace and confidence. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and fear, and he had overcome them. He had learned the value of patience, observation, and careful action. He had learned that mistakes were opportunities to grow, and that courage was acting despite fear. He had proven the strength and resilience of humans. Mara stood beside him, watching the stars. Kai, you have earned respect today, not just from me but from everyone on this ship. You have shown what humans can do, and you have proven that mistakes are not the end. They are lessons and they can lead to success. Kai smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of pride. He had feared being remembered for his mistakes, but he now understood that success was built on effort, courage, and learning. Humans were capable of great things, and he had proven that. He felt connected to the ship, to Mara, and to the vast universe beyond. The Aurora moved through space, steady and strong. The warp drive hummed like a heartbeat, a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. Kai felt a sense of purpose and readiness. He had faced danger, repaired the ship, and ensured survival. He had proven that humans, with their creativity, determination, and courage, could overcome any challenge. Mara looked at him, her expression softening. Kai, today you have done something extraordinary. You have proven that humans can face any challenge and succeed. Never forget this. Remember that humans are capable of greatness even in the most difficult circumstances. Kai nodded, feeling determination and pride. He knew the galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, but he was ready. Humans could think, adapt, and act with courage. They could overcome mistakes, learn from experience, and achieve extraordinary success. And he was ready to continue the journey, confident in his abilities and in the strength of humanity. The Aurora glided onward, stars stretching into lines of light as the ship traveled through space. Kai and Mara worked together, monitoring systems and preparing for the challenges ahead. Kai felt a deep sense of connection to the ship, to his captain, and to the crew. He understood that humans, through ingenuity, courage, and determination, could survive and thrive in any environment. Kai looked out at the endless stars, feeling both small and powerful. He had made mistakes, faced danger, and succeeded. He had repaired the warp drive, discovered hidden flaws, and ensured the survival of the Aurora. He had learned the value of courage, focus, and adaptability. And he knew that humans could face any challenge and come out stronger. Mara's voice came one final time through the intercom. Kai, rest now. You have earned it. Remember today and remember what humans are capable of. We will face the galaxy together, and we will succeed because we are clever, determined, and resilient. Kai closed his eyes briefly, feeling pride, relief, and readiness. The Aurora moved steadily through space, its warp drive humming powerfully. He had proven that humans were capable of extraordinary achievements, that courage and skill could overcome mistakes and danger, and that determination and ingenuity were humanity's greatest strengths. As the ship traveled further into the galaxy, Kai felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. The universe was vast and full of unknown challenges, but he was ready. Humans could adapt, survive, and thrive, and with Captain Mara and the Aurora, he knew they could face anything the galaxy could throw at them. Kai rested for a moment, letting the hum of the warp drive and the vastness of space settle around him. He had learned lessons, faced danger, and succeeded. He had proven the power of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. And he was ready for whatever came next, confident that humans could overcome any challenge and achieve greatness. The Aurora glided steadily, stars shimmering outside the windows. Kai opened his eyes, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had repaired the warp drive, saved the ship, and proven the strength of humanity. And as the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, he knew that humans, with their creativity, courage, and determination, could survive and thrive anywhere.